middle daughter, Natalie. Natalie's the type of child that we never thought, at least, that you would ever think would be the victim of bullying. She played 11 seasons football with the boys before girls were even playing football, but yet she was still girly and loved shopping, and in fact, she was one of my makeup artists tonight. But early into her 4th grade school year, at 9 years old, her best friend moved away, and it was as if an instant the bullying started. It started, and watching these videos just breaks my heart. It started simply in the classroom. There's 3 girls that were friends. They'd whisper, look her up and down, make fun of her. She sat next to them, they jumped up and got away from her as fast as they could, as if something was wrong with her. On the playground, there was another child that would follow her around relentlessly, make fun of the hair on her arms, make fun of her because she was wearing tennis shoes versus Tory Burch flip-flops. And they would sit alongside the gym at the basketball courts, and our daughter would be playing basketball with the boys and holding her own, by the way, and they would be there waiting for her to mess up and just saying the most horrible things as she played, waiting for her. And Natalie, and there's a lot of you in this room that know her, she's a tough cookie. And she went right up to them and told them to stop, told them to leave her alone, but they wouldn't. The lunchroom, that was another story, and that was, it just kept, because things kept escalating. And the lunchroom is supposed to be a time for the kids to enjoy and take a break from academics and enjoy themselves and have fun. And a couple of occasions she walked in the room and a table of girls started booing her. Other kids joined in, and these are kids that she thought were her friends. And just for they didn't want to be the part of it where they didn't want it happening to them. On one day, though, she came in, and this is something, I don't know if I can get through without crying. She walked in the lunchroom, and these table of girls started covering their eyes and saying, "Please go away, we can't look at you, you're disgusting, you're gross, and you're ugly. God. Please leave, and just leave, get away, we can't look at you anymore." Needless to say, our daughter spent most of her lunch times in the bathroom trying to get away from it. And as a parent, we did all the channels and did everything you're supposed to do, aside from not sleeping and crying every day. We reached out to the families, everyone. It was just, of course not, my child wouldn't do this. And none of the parents wanted to work with us on it. We went to the teacher pretty much daily, the assistant principal. Their way of handling it is they put Natalie in a room across the table from, for example, the 3 girls in her school, in her classroom, and 2 of them would cry, and then they'd make Natalie feel like it was her problem, that she was the problem, she was instigating it. As a parent and stuff too, you're listening to your daughter and what's going on, and we even went to the school board, and they kept turning us back to go back to the school. So it was just a relentless battle, and what was sad is what was happening, because it was every day. She started believing them. And those first videos with the suicide, of course, as parents, you think of that. She started saying, "Mom, I am disgusting. I am ugly. Can I shave the hair on my arms? And can we go get Tory Burch flip-flops? And maybe the girls will be nice to me." And fortunately, we're very blessed because we're a family of faith, and she knew she was never alone. We prayed every day. She knew this was not a journey she was on by herself. And we're so lucky as a family that we have kids that talk with us. This happens to so many kids that don't share it with their parents. And even through this process, there were other kids that Natalie was standing up for, and their parents, I call them. Everyone who knows me knows I'm not someone who's afraid to stand up for something. And no one wanted to be a part of it because they didn't want to be unpopular. So even during this journey, though, as we prayed through it, we were looking at other schools, and we had a time frame. We thought we'd have a little bit more time. But then one day, it pretty much determined that we were going to need to leave sooner than we expected. So as picking up the kids from school, all the kids came out of school, and Natalie had come out. And your children, some run out the gates the first time. And our old school had gates around it. And that's supposed to, as parents, that's supposed to give us peace of understanding that our kids are being protected. They're being protected from what's on the outside. But for us, we weren't scared of what was coming on the outside. We were scared of what was going on the inside. And on this day when we had to go pick her up, all the kids came out, and I started panicking because there's no one else left. And all of a sudden, she comes running through the gates with 3 boys behind her. And I looked at those boys and I said, "I don't know what happened, but I'm going to be talking to your parents." And she looked at me and she had tears in her eyes and she said they wouldn't let me go and nobody would help me. What happened was at PE, she's a very gifted little athlete, she kept beating this little boy and he didn't like it, and after school he went up behind her, grabbed her by the back of the backpack and threw her to the ground. Two of his friends jumped in. They thought it was funny. They were throwing things out of her backpack, and as she would jump back up, they'd pull her back down to the ground. And this is right after school, of a pre-K through 8th grade school. They started grabbing the back of her neck. They called it a snake bite. And all the while, no one stopped to help her. And I also learned that there was kids lined up at the gym window watching all this happen. And so as a 9-year-old coming up to you and she's asking you, why wasn't anyone helping me? And when you don't even have that answer, it's heartbreaking, and there's a part of your innocence that's lost. And so, needless to say, we left and we found an incredible school. We took her out of there. We still live by this other school. We pray for these kids that are still going through it there every day. And these programs and what Kimberly and the team does here is so important. The families need it. Our kids need it. It breaks my heart to see and hear, and it still breaks my heart to see, to go through this. And I'm thankful that Natalie is an incredibly strong, beautiful young lady. She stands up to anyone. She'll stand up to boys, girls, twice her size. She's very aware of all of this that's around her. But when I was sharing with her, I was talking to her about this, and I said, I don't know if Mom's going to be able to get through this without crying. I said, would you be able to share this without crying? She says, Mom, well, sometimes people ask me questions and I can't answer them because I don't want to cry. And it was a realization to me that, I don't know if we're ever going to get through it where you're not going to tug at your emotions. Because for children to go through something like this, I think it forever changes you. And those who are going through this today, all my prayers will be with you. And I hope those of you who have contacts to bring masks into our schools, and tonight everyone to be a part of making a difference. I thank all of you because our schools and communities need it. And just want to thank you for letting me share my story, and God bless all of you.